Well, firstly, can I say thank you for joining us. A very good evening to you, and this is the President's lecture. Our speaker also has a wide range of interests and interesting background. So not just the chair of the Environment Agency, I think she got there by a whole range of different experiences, not least of all the boards and advisory committees, which included Share Action, Manhattan PLC, the Prince's Accounting for Sustainability Project, and Green Finance Institute, all of which are quite challenging organisations, but has worked in financial services for over 25 years in corporate finance and fund management. As Director of Stewardship at Jupiter Asset Management until July 2014, she was integral to the development of their expertise in the corporate governance and sustainability fields. So we look forward to hearing from her the critical challenges to protecting environment and, more importantly, supporting that sustainable development.
The thesis of my speech tonight is that everyone in society, government, businesses and individuals, needs to put the climate emergency at the heart of everything they do. This work should not be in a box labelled environmental issues. It should not be given a cursory 10 minutes at the board meeting before everyone gets back to the business of business. The climate crisis is the business of business. It must become a default part of our thinking. Otherwise, the dark and stormy nights of the coming decades will not only be much scarier, they will have an insurmountably damaging effect on communities, nature, and the economy. But I am not the ghost of Christmas yet to come, here only to conjure a nightmarish apparition of the future. I am positive about our prospects. My message today is that there's still everything to play for. Last week, on the northern Danish coast, a 120-year-old, 720-ton lighthouse was put on skates and moved 70 metres inland to save it from coastal erosion. The lighthouse that was rescued from the sea sounds like a children's book. But drone footage of the vast minaret-like structure gliding slowly across sand dunes made it a global news story. The Rybjerg region of Denmark is popular with tourists. It was decided that the cultural and aesthetic value of this non-operational lighthouse was worth securing for another 40 years. When it comes to coastal erosion and flood planning, the priority for authorities is to protect life. But saving this lighthouse was not that. It says something about the way people want to live. When we talk about the horrors of the climate emergency and Extinction Rebellion are right that we must tell the truth about this, we should also think about the resilience of what we value now. The coastline has never been static. There has always been coastal erosion. Rivers change direction. There have always been floods and droughts in the UK, just as there have always been typhoons in Japan. So when you read an article about the latest record-breaking climate event, it often comes with a sidebar of analysis titled, "Is this climate change?" Last year, the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change said we have 12 years to hold global warming to 1.5 degrees above pre-industrial levels. And even if we do, the physical impacts, like storms and heat waves, will increase. The IPCC's report is not only momentous because of what it says, it is a towering achievement because it managed to get scientists and government officials from 40 different countries to agree on a single document. Last month, the IPCC released a new report saying that once a century sea level events will be annual events by 2050. So while we can agree that such things have always happened, we must also agree that the multiplying effect of the climate emergency means we have new questions to answer. A farmer might overcome a few dry summers with some tactical decisions about what to plant and where. But a long-term shift in climate means fundamental changes to the business or running the risk of ruin. The climate emergency is now a fundamental threat to every area of modern life, so our response must be a default part of everything we do. One of the leaders I look to is the former President of Ireland, Mary Robinson, who said to The Guardian last year, "I don't think, as a human race, that we can be so stupid that we can't face an existential threat together and find a common humanity and solidarity to respond to it, because we do have the capacity and the means to do it, if we have the political will." So I applaud David Attenborough, who said earlier this year, "The Garden of Eden is no more," Greta Thunberg, who said, "I want you to panic," and Extinction Rebellion, who have appropriated Rabbi Hillel's famous quote, "If not now, when?" Because bringing these issues to the front of people's minds gets us past debating whether or not the latest natural disaster is climate change, and focuses minds on what action we must take to reduce the risks and prepare for new extremes. We need to get better at clearly assessing climate risks and opportunities, and better at pooling our expertise and resources across communities, sectors, and international borders. If people would rather put a lighthouse on skates than spoil the view, then humans have what it takes to overcome the climate emergency. But no one can wait for leadership tomorrow. We must all get our own skates on today.